Okay, somebody asked me to do an explanation of Ben Hogan's golf swing, and I'm going to say there's only one person that could really do that, and that would be Ben Hogan, and he's no longer alive, right? So I think the thing is you look at what people have done in the past in their swings and you attempt to replicate it, and you can put yourself in all the positions possibly, but you might not be using force in the same way at all, right? So, and some of the things are just moving too fast. So even in slow motion, you can't see exactly what happened. But anyway, and force is the important thing. How force is applied is what matters, not what the picture looks like. So, but given that, I'll do a little discussion of something that I think is kind of interesting. I think it's part of the reason why people would say, oh, Ben Hogan, he hooked the ball and he made this swing that was anti-hook, and if other people use it, it doesn't work. They just push the ball out to the right and they slice all over the place, right? So I think there's a reason for that, and it's a misconception of what is the backswing in his mind and what is the downswing. So if you watch his short video about the most important part of the swing is the transition from the top, right? And so he does a slow motion version. He's like, the lower body moves first, right? And he moves this way, moving back this way, right? And so you say, okay, well, I'll go to the top of my swing and I'm going to move that way. Well, then you watch the slow motion, and what you see is he does this, and there's this big lateral shift, and then he moves that way. And so you think, well, how can he not feel that he's doing this big lateral move first and then turning? And I realized finally why that is. Because in his mind, that lateral move is not part of the downswing, it's part of the backswing, right? So what he actually was doing is a little bit this way, but then very quickly he's moving lateral. So when this lands, he's all the way here already, and you can see it in the pictures, right? He's all the way here. Then it makes sense, right? And it makes sense, and that's why people get confused. And that, if you were going to work on something, replicate Ben Hogan, that's what to work on. So when you're here, right? Your backswing finishes here. Then you turn through. So I think that's one aspect that makes it very confusing. And if you're not there and you turn through, yes, it's a big slice. And that's why people can't do it. That's why it didn't make sense to them, because he didn't explain that, and maybe it was just so natural to him, right? That's a backswing. That's a through swing. So that's one thing. And then the other, I think, thing that's hard to see in his swing, and it explains this amazingly flat-looking thing coming down, is that he did this rotation with his hand. It's easier to see with the right hand. So he rotates that way, and then he comes all the way down, keeping this rotated, and then his swing is here. This move through the ball, right? That's very different. So you can see how much stored angle you have if you do that, right? Produce a bunch of power. I don't do this. I think I can kind of do it. I'll give it a go. So I'll do a terrible version of Ben Hogan's swing for you, but I think those are the two big things if you were going to try to use that swing style. Is you got to get to here with this rotated open, and then you turn it all the way through. So I'll do my best impersonation, let's call it. So it feels cool. I don't personally use it. I've never spent any time grooving it, but you really, especially this aspect, there's an amazing, if you could groove that, amazing kind of whip through the ball, right? Seems like it's like there and then just so fast, right? So fast all the way through. So worth trying for somebody. It's not something I'm pursuing, but there it is.